And to slip, you go full right on the rudder, and we'll use this left aileron to keep us pointed in the direction we want to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to X-Plane 10. Once again, we are in St. Charles at KSET, Smart County. And this is the AirFoil Lab Cessna 172 again. We're walking up to it for the first flight of today. And before we take off today, I will show you guys my settings because there's some things you need to know about this airplane if you purchased it before we get up in the air today. So let's do our walk around. We're going to take this tie down off. My ground is really jittery. We're going to take the pitot cover off here, and we're going to walk over here to the door. Open the door up of the airplane, and in here, first, we want to get the control lock out. Well, we'll jump in the airplane real fast, and control lock off. We'll go master battery switch on. We'll take the flaps all the way down. And this is a new feature in 1.3. This is 1.3 of this airplane version. And now the fuel shutoff valve is no longer pulled all the way out, causing issues for a lot of people in starting the airplane. So that's good. You can turn on the strobe and the landing light, and we'll just check all the lights while we're out and about in the airplane. So to get out of it, we just click right here, and we're back outside. We can walk over here and continue our walk around of the airplane. So we'll just do a quick walk around today, nothing too crazy. Lights look like they're both on there. Those are lit up. Very nice and good. Spin around here and we'll check the ailerons, make sure they wiggle. And they do, as they do inside. We'll walk over here. We'll check the flaps, make sure they wiggle. Looks good. We'll take those off. Walk back here to the back of the airplane. And we'll check the elevators, make sure that they move freely, and they do. As well as the rudder. There's the rudder. Take that tie down off as well. Walk around this way. And we will continue our walk around. We'll hit that flap there. Looks good. Make sure the aileron over here works, and it does. We take that tie down off as well. Walk underneath the airplane. Make sure this all looks good. Static wicks are good. Light is working. Strobe is working. Very nice. We take this guy off. Oh, nope. A little forward, a little further there. Take that chalk off there. Very nice. And we'll check the fuel quantity on this side real quick. So let's hop up on here. Open this up. And we'll see we have 89% in there. We can take a little bit out. We don't need that much. We'll do 75. 21 gallons in each tank is all we need today. So to get down, we'll kind of hit this guy here and walk away from the airplane. Sometimes it gets stuck in the airplane, which it seems to have done. All right. Okay, we freed ourselves. There's a little bit of a bug. If you get stuck when you get down off the airplane, try going in the interior cockpit and all that good stuff. Let's check the oil. I'm not going to check the other wing. Oh, no, we're going to have to. So we're going to have to deal with the same thing. Is it good? I can't tell. Well, wish I could see where there's the oil line right there. Looks kind of low, but well, that's kind of unintuitive, right? No bother. Let's just continue our walk around here. Front looks good on the airplane. We're going to hop up here in this wing tank and make sure it's at 75% as well. Might get stuck as well while we're up here. So let's go 75%. Very nice. Put that back on there. And actually what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to go to the pilot view first. Make sure it works right. And then go back outside. And that seems to be the best way to get off the wing currently right now as it stands. So airplane looks like it's good. Pretty much good to fly. We'll go in here really quick and make sure that we'll turn our master battery off, and we'll make sure all these switches are off. Very nice. Okay, cool. Before we start, I want to show you guys real fast. We'll go to settings. We'll go to do joystick equipment. Under null zone, by default, they tell you to have these all the way to the left and the right ones at 50%. Okay. the airplane is completely unflyable if you do it that way, especially if you're using a Saitek yoke and pedals and throttle quadrant like I'm using. It's no bueno. So 70%, I know it says full off for most realism, but it's just that's not realistic. The airplane doesn't behave correctly at all. So I really highly recommend going with 70%, 75%. A null zone of 2% is what I'm using, and all should be well for you. So we are in the airplane, and we're pretty much ready to get going. So let's close this door. I don't know why the ground shakes like that. It's very weird. Very weird indeed. So now we're in the airplane, and we're ready to do our thing. So starting this airplane is quite simple. A lot better now that the fuel shutoff valve is not an issue anymore. We'll turn the master battery switch on, turn our beacon on, and we just kind of go through the motions like we did last time. We'll crack our throttle open there, and we're going to go fuel pump on. Push that in. We're going to watch for the fuel flow spike right there to get up there towards 5, which it's almost at. And that's probably good right there. Pull the mixture out. Fuel pump off. Make sure this is cracked pretty good. You got to push it in pretty good here. And then just a little bit of mixture. And let's start the airplane. Add that mixture in there. Looks good. We'll add that power. Oop. Make sure it does that. Our parking brake is set. And what I recommend doing is when you first start the airplane, run up the RPM to about 1500 RPM for a few seconds before letting it come back to idle. Otherwise, it might die on you. And that wouldn't be very good. Avionics, we turn those on. Remembers everything I had from last time I flew it. That's really cool. So we're just going to let it warm up. It's very hot out here today in St. Louis, so we're going to open this window, and you can hear the sound of the airplane a little bit better. Very cool. So now the airplane is coming to life. We're waiting for this to come to terms here. And we're going to go direct to... we'll do K. Yep, that's good. Nope, didn't want that. K. Set is what we wanted. H-I-J-K-L-M-N-O PQRS. Come on with it. There it is right there. St. Charles County Smart. Activate it. That way we can keep an eye on everything. It's very weird. The autopilot should turn on when we first turn the avionics on. In this airplane, it seems to take a little bit of time. We'll double check, make sure our fuel is set on both, which it is. What am I using in my camera views? I'm using FOV of 90 degrees, if you're wondering. I like to be able to see a little bit more of the airplane than some people like. We'll pull our power back now to about 1,000 RPM to idle it. And we can also pull the mixture out a little bit so we don't foul our spark plugs. All right, cool. That's all good to go. Circuit breakers are in. Yes, they are. They will actually pop if something fails on the airplane, so that's a really cool thing. Let's bring our flaps up. We don't need those anymore. We'll test the annunciator panel, and it is good and clear. And we're pretty much good to go flying. Let's look at the weather real quick, and we'll find out what's going on here in St. Charles. All right, looking at the weather right now, using Wonderground for KSET, looking like for August 11th. Yep, that's what we want. And 360 at Niner. It's going to be the wind, so right out of the north there, right down the runway 36 here. And 10 miles of visibility, clear skies. Altimeter is 3007, which I think that's what it was last time I flew this airplane earlier. 3007. Yeah, about right there. 3007. It's set and good. Well, excellent. All right. I say we're ready to taxi down to runway 36. We can do our run up and everything else once we get going here. So power is at idle right now, about 1,900 RPM to 1,000. We'll release our brakes. And as we taxi out here, we'll test the brakes. I have brakes, and they work fine. So we can always recenter our view here. And we're at the beautiful Smart County Airfield here in St. Charles. I used to train for my IFR out of here. And that big DC-3 is sitting right there in real life, right there. Hey, just getting used to the airplane controls. It's feeling good. Pull our power back a little bit. Don't need to taxi too crazy. We'll make a left here and then a right and take it down to runway 36. Alrighty, and since it is an evening flight, I decided to turn on the navs as well as the taxi light. And we're taxiing down to runway 36. I did read the comments and somebody said that you need to get into the airplane the way I did actually, and you get the pilot model inside the airplane. Not the case. That doesn't have a pilot model yet. And that's my only gripe with this airplane so far, is that it doesn't. There we are. We're at a nice idle speed right here, 900 RPM, looking very good. We can see the windsock confirming our winds. They're saying that they're supposed to be right out of the north, and that's showing them out of the west, or out of the east. What should we believe? That windsock showing this. Oh, you know what? That might have been, I don't know. That windsock seems broken. This one is correct. So winds are out of the north, like I said. No big deal. We'll come down here and do our run-up. Make sure everything is good to go before we take to the skies. And we'll check out version 1.3 of this airplane. I plan on doing a full review on it when I get some time. Just been waiting since there was this new version that just came out. I want to make sure that we were all good to go here before we did that. And this will be an easy run-up area down here. Brakes are still a little sketchy, a little touchy for me. I don't really care for them being that touchy, but what are you gonna do? All right, we turn our taxi light off here and spin around here to the north. Always want to do your run up into the wind. That doesn't seem very legit there, the windsock. So here we are right there. We'll look down, pull that out, and set our brake. Parking brake is set. So, mixture is full rich, and we will power this baby up to 1800 RPM. Pull it back a little bit more to 1800. There we go, right there is good. We'll check the magnetos. Right one first. Watch for the 50 drop. Back to both. Looking good. And the left side. There's our 50 drop. Back to both. Check our instruments. Green, green. Fuel quantity is where we want it. Vacuum is good. Amps are good. Fuel flow is there. Everything looks great. Let's box the controls. We'll go back, left. We'll go left, right, down, right. And you can see him over there in the shadow. And neutral. Free and correct. Times record. We're pretty much good to go. We can set this baby back down to idle. And we can close our windows and we can get ready for takeoff. So we'll go a landing in a strobe light. Close our windows. Whoop. Just like that. It'll get a lot quieter in the airplane too. There we go. Much quieter. We go release the brakes and we'll add a little bit of power and swing out here to the right. Use our right differential braking. There we go. A little sensitive, like I said. And over here, got to use a lot more rudder than I did in the old version, so that's a good thing. Before we take the runway, we're going to make sure that our trim is set, which it is. I like a little negative trim. Even on the real airplane, whenever we're lightly loaded like this, I never liked the trim to be on the triangle. I always liked it a little bit of negative. I like to feel the rotation of the airplane. Let's double check our P over here, make sure the people look good. Go quantity, person weight. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, we're good. Just want to make sure all that weight and balance was kosher before we take to the skies. So, you know what to do. We'll power up. No flaps needed in this airplane for takeoff. And get her pointed down the runway. Run back in our seat really nice and easy here. There's 40 knots, 50 knots. Airspeed's looking good and alive. There's 60 knots. Slightly back on the yoke, and we are taking to the skies. So we're gonna climb out at 80 knots. Remember to push that nose down a little bit here. Actually, we need to go up and maintain 80 knots. Looking very nice. I think what we're gonna do is do a touch and go, and then we'll, because I want some more landing practice in this airplane. Don't have very much of it. And then once we have that, we'll go check out the St. Louis VOR and fly around it. Check out the instruments to see how they behave. Still want to pitch for that 80 knots. I'm gonna nose up. There's 1,100 feet. We can do our crosswind turn now. Very nice. Maybe we want a little bit of a FOV change. Let's see here. Camera. Let's go a little bit further in. About 84. Actually, 83 will probably be good. Complete our crosswind there. Bring the nose down to 1,500 feet. And we want 21 RPM. And we'll start our left downwind for runway 36. There's 1,500 and kind of know the sound of the airplane for 2,100 RPM. You can barely see it, but it's set. And now we're looking good on a left downwind for 36. Very nice. Like I said, changing those settings that I showed you in the beginning makes the world of a difference in flying this airplane. I promise you. Source, I've flown the real one. That's as good as it gets, right? All right, let's pull our power back to 1,500 RPM. There we go. And pitch up so we can get our white arc so we can start putting some flaps in. There's 1,400 feet, looking good. So I want to pitch for that arc. We're pretty much 45 degrees to it now. There's 10-degree flap. And we'll start our left turn, looking good. It's good to know your surroundings, I'll tell you that right now. Let that nose drop. We want 80 knots here. Go 20-degree flap. That'll compensate for the drop. 1,500 RPM. Using that trim. They really worked on the trim, by the way, from last time. Remember, I wasn't very happy with it? Yes, they worked on the trim. Very happy to report that. It's a lot better feeling. All right, and we can start turning final on final. So we'll start our left turn to final. Pitching for 70 knots here. 75 right now, but as we hit these flaps, it'll help out. Go final on final. So next, setting a flap. And now we want to pitch for that 70 knots and use our power for the altitude. So we're turning on a final approach now. We'll follow the VASIs down. There they are right there. And pitch for that 70 knots. Add that power to maintain that. There we go, just like this. Really liking this airplane a lot. A lot. Just, ooh, that was a little sensitive there. Push. A lot better than it was, though, I'll tell you that right now. And the main reason why I couldn't get a good round out to flare, a little more power to get our altitude up, was because the sensitivities were just way too great to get a decent flare out of it. All right, as we come over the numbers, there's 70 knots. Go to idle power, and let's get it a round out to flare here. We want to get the stall horn, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. We'll try, though. Ooh, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Way up, way up. Nope, ballooned there, but that's all right. Up. That wasn't too bad. Not bad at all. Bring our flaps up. We're going to do a full stop and go landing here. Plenty of runway for this airplane. Don't worry about that. And I want to make sure we get our night lighting set up. Those of you might be wondering. Let's get this set back up to 900 RPM for idle. All right, there, it's going to be good. And these are our panel lights right here. So we can adjust these as we need for night flying. And you have the panel as well if you wanted. See? We'll bring it down a little bit. I never liked them too bright. There we go. And we're pretty much good to go. Release the brakes. Double check our trim before we take off. And actually, let's do a short field takeoff. They're a lot of fun. So you want to have the trim set here. We'll go 10-degree flap for a short field takeoff. We'll hold the brakes and we'll go full power and release. And we'll rotate at as soon as it can and then push down the nose over and fly out of ground effect. So powered up. Release the brakes. Ooh, man, those brakes are so sensitive. It's unreal. So we want to rotate as soon as we can. As soon as the airplane will take flight. Keep that nose really light. There it is. Push the nose down. I'm going to hold this about right here. Gain our speed. And then it's going to be like an elevator, as you can see right there. starts pushing up as we fly out of ground effect. Once we do, we can start bringing those flaps up so we don't bust speed on them. Bring that nose up. Now we can pitch for 80 knots. Short field takeoff. A lot of fun. Really having a blast with this airplane. It's a good time. I apologize. We don't have a GoPro camera. It was dead when I set it up today. It was dead. So next time, I promise you, we will do it. All right, let's get set up for our VOR. So 117.4, it's the St. Louis VOR. You know, we could have set it right here. There's 1099. We go to 117.4. Here's our DME. We're 5.6 miles from the VOR as we turn out here to the west. And we're going to basically fly to the VOR, fly over it, and I'll show you how it works. So, all right, about to cross over the Missouri River. We're still flying away from the VOR. I want to make sure we get far enough away we can actually use the VOR. So that's Lambert off to our left. That's runway 11, 12 right, 12 left. That's Lambert. And highway 270 runs right along here. And this is 370 we're crossing over right here near the Mills Mall and all that good stuff. And the Blanchette Bridge is there. Outer marker for runway 12 right. We're going to spin around and we're going to try to get an intercept heading on this VOR now. So we're going to descend down to 3,000 feet. No need to be up there at 3,500 because the VOR is pretty close to the field. So we'll come down to 3,000 feet. Almost there. And we got 117.4. And the OBS is we're gonna track it here in just a second. We'll roll out here at 300 and 3,000 feet. Bring that nose down, and let's go ahead and spin this guy and find out where the VOR is. The VOR is going to be find it. To the VOR is going to be dealing with this. Hold on, that's from the VOR. We don't want that radial. We want to the VOR, like that. There it is, right there. And it's going to be about just a 010. So let's go 010 on the heading here. 010. And let's fly to this VOR. We want a nice intercept heading to it. So we're 3.4 miles from it. And this will be a nice intercept heading about right here. Watch our altitude. Go back up to 3,000. That's what you get for talking and flying. So back on up to 3,000. There we go. And we're watching for this needle. As we see, the needle is starting to swing to the left. And once it gets on the ball, we can pretty much turn right on 020, and we'll be on an inbound radial of 020 to that VOR, to the St. Louis VOR. So it's turning there, nice and easy. We're going to barely turn with it. We don't want to chase it too much. Look like it's going to be right over this field here. 2.4 miles out from it still. Little to the right still. So we want to make sure we fly this correctly, and we're not doing a good job. We're a little to the left of it, I mean, not right. And it'll get more sensitive as we get closer to it. So there's our intercept heading again, and let's follow back onto it, track onto it. There, it's turning a little bit there. And remember, this doesn't spin, this spins, and we want to line up on there when this is, so this has got to be centered when we line up on 020. So there's the center. Now we can fly over to 020. Very nice. So now we're on the 020 inbound heading. We're 1.5 miles from the VOR. We should see it off our nose, actually. I think we can see it. Is that it down there? Those are houses. I don't think they have it actually physically modeled like FSX did. So we're 3,000 feet. Looking good. It'll swing back and forth, mainly because the closer you get to the VOR, it gets more sensitive, obviously. That's the reasoning behind it. But it's 1 mile out. We should be able to see it, I would imagine, off of our nose, but unless it's that right there. That looks like a farm. Yeah, that's a farm. It could be the VOR. Oh, is it the VOR? Nope, it's trees. Never mind. Never mind. All right, we're good now. Once we cross over the VOR, it'll flip this little guy right here. We're 0.5 miles from it. And once it flips over, then we'll be crossing over it. Look at that freight train down there. That's awesome. We'll know we have crossed over the VOR, and then we'll continue over here to set and do one more touch and go probably. Or we'll do we'll do one more touch and go, and then all should be well. We're just waiting for this flip. There was the flip right there, so now we're good to go. Let's go ahead and descend. And that's basics of VOR navigation, if you were wondering. So if I wanted to now, I could switch this over to GPS mode. And this guy up here, we could spin it until it lines up. It'll let us know what direction we have to fly to get to the airport. I'm not gonna mess with it though. We have the airport in sight right there. It's not a big deal. And now we can do something that's a lot of fun. We're gonna pull the power back here to idle, and we're gonna do a slip. So we're at what, 2,500 feet descending. If we wanted to get down quick without speeding up too greatly, we would do a slip. And to slip, you go full right on the rudder, and we'll use this left aileron to keep us pointed in the direction we want to go. And you can hear the sound of the slipstream of the wind around the airplane. You would feel that in real life too. You can hear it like that. And we can let the airplane come down at a higher rate of speed without gaining a lot of airspeed or losing it. And you just kind of maintain it with the ailerons and the elevator. It's a very, very effective way of getting down fast. So we'll come out of it around 1,500 feet, which will nice and easy on the rudder. There we go. There's 1,500 feet. Bring the nose up. Add our power back in. 1,500 RPM is going to be great. And we'll get set up for a touch and go here on runway 36. So 1,400 is going to be pretty good since this is down here in the valley. Bring the nose up with the pitch trim. Looking good. There we go. We're well within the limits of the flaps, so we can go flaps 10 and push the nose forward. And pushing the nose forward, we'll just use the trim to our advantage there and add a little bit of power. Actually, we don't have to worry about the power right now. We got to pitch for the airspeed. So right now we're at 10-degree flaps. We want to get 80 knots. So let's pitch our nose down to 80 knots here and use our power for altitude, of course. Looking very good. Double check everything. Landing lights and strobe lights are on. We're clear to land runway 36. All right, 80 knots is looking great. Crossing 1,000 feet. We want to grab those VASI lights. There they are right there. 1,500 RPM, 80 knots. Doesn't get any better than that. We can go to 20-degree flap now. And that'll get us really on there. There we go. And flying the airplane the entire time. And using our throttle for the altitude. Pitch for 70 knots, looking beautiful right now on the glide slope. It's kind of weird whenever you're in an airplane like this. You're pushing the airplane forward, down towards the ground, adding power for the altitude without gaining too much. So pitch for that airspeed. We want 70 knots there. We've got our altitude as we needed it there. There we go. Push the nose forward. Want that 70 knots. Use a little more power here. Pitch for the airspeed, 70 knots. There we go. Shouldn't have to chase it too much. It should be 1,500 RPM and you're good, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. There we go, just like that. Right where we want to be. Almost over the piano keys here. Piano keys will go to the idle cut off there, and let's try to get a better landing out of this guy. Little left rudder there, bring it nose up. Ooh, hello. Little up, 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 up. Ooh, we were down. We were actually on the ground. Look at that. That was beautiful. All right, bring the flaps up. Let's double check our trim, make sure it's good to go. Trim on the takeoff. Looking good there. All right, cool. And we're good to take off again. We'll use that there. Airspeed's alive. There's 55, 60. We are in the air. Beautiful. Pitch for 80 knots. Let's do right traffic this time. Change it up. Hold it right on that 80 knots. Looking great. You can really fly this airplane by the numbers. It is absolutely incredible. Again, if you guys go by what they tell you on their video and the manual for this airplane, you're going to be in a world of trouble as far as the sensitivities of the controls. All right. Start turning at about 1100 is good enough there. Do a nice standard rate here. And we'll climb up to 1,400 feet. Crossing 1,200, we're going to pull our power back. 2,100 RPM, as we can already tell. And now we're on our crosswind. Still climbing up nice and easy here. And we can double check position of the airport. There it is right there. Over to the right. Pull our power back a little bit more. And come up on 1,400 feet. And you can use those visual cues on the ground, like this road right here. We know it'll be due south and will be perfectly parallel to the runway, which we are right there. And we're 0.9. We're about 1 mile from the airport, which we want to be in a pattern. We want to keep it close and tight. All right, there's 2100 RPM. We're doing good. 1,400 feet. Beautiful. Trim it where you want it. We'll trim it right there. Yeah, they did such a great job on that trim. Very happy with that. And we're on our right downwind for runway 36. Always landing into the wind. Always, always. Get my nose down here. We'll pull our power back to 1,500 RPM. No need for it to be up so high. As we get closer to this threshold right there of the runway, we're going to pitch back. We want to get into that arc so we can pull the flaps down. Bring that nose up here. 1,200 feet will be great for it. There we go. 10-degree flap. It's going to assist with the lift. And let's go ahead and let power. There's 70. We want to get that 80 knots. We'll go 20-degree flap here. And we want to get 80 knots. We'll do a little shorter approach this time. It'll be fun. I promise you, it'll be lots of fun. There we go. Got pretty much the runway in sight right there. Pitch for that 80 knots. And we'll start turning now on to final. Go final on final, 30-degree flap. And get the airplane where we want it. 70 knots is going to be the winner chicken dinner here. Looking very good. We can pull our power out really high. I know we're going to be a little high right here. Push that nose down for 70 knots. Pitch for that airspeed. Power for the altitude to get it back. Looking very nice. Bring the nose up. Trim it forward a little bit. A little high still. We're going to come right out on the glide slope though, so it'll be all right. There's the glide slope right there. Caught it. Add that power. And pitch for that airspeed. There we go. 65. A little less stable approach than last time, but that's all right. Crossing over 60 knots there. Pull the power out completely. Let's try to get a decent landing out of this for the last one. Well, the last one was actually really good. I just wanted more flare. And we're down. All right, cool. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this flight. I'm really pleased with this airplane. Once you get those settings where you need to, and the settings like I showed you, you're going to absolutely love to fly this thing. Anything outside of that, it's not very realistic. And this is how a Cessna 172 behaves to the T. Even the sounds remind you of everything. Bring the flaps up. Normally this is the point where we would throw this altimeter or the transponder over to standby. We didn't ever turn it on to alt. Doesn't matter. We're not flying on line. There's no airplanes around. As we do our taxi in, we're doing good here. Bring our power back. Bring that nose back. There we go. And landing light can come off. Strobe can come off. We don't even need a taxi light. How about that? There's that C-47 as we taxi in here. I believe this is called, I don't remember the name of this place. It's been a while. Skyline Aviation? Something like that. We'll park over here next to this guy where we started. And tie down the airplane and all that good stuff. And wow, a lot of fun. So I think on the next video, we're probably going to do a cross country. We're pretty much ready. Got enough knowledge with the airplane to do some cross country stuff. So we'll probably fly up to, or fly somewhere. Possibly Springfield, Missouri or something. Line out right here is going to be good. Right there. And add our brakes. Very, very sensitive brakes. Pull the parking brake. There it is set. And we go ahead and kill the engine by pulling the mixture. And it comes to a complete stop. Beautiful. And we'll go avionics off. And we'll turn the ignition to the off. And master battery can come off now. And the beacon will be on for next time. Pretty much how it always was. You could flip this guy over here to the left. And we can install the control lock. And it's pretty much good to do. All we have to do now is tie the airplane back down. And we're good to go. Step out of the airplane. We can walk this way. Out here. And let's tie it down right here. Well, maybe. No, that's the door. No, that's okay. We need to close the door anyway. Yep, there we go. There's the tie down. Wheel chocks. And we can walk back here. Tie down the airplane here. Very, very, very cool. Really, really, really liking this airplane more and more and more. Nope, wrong button. I went down here. Oop. Yep, right there. Tie it off there. And I used to have to always do this every single day when I was flying all the time. Come around this way and we'll set it here. Tie it down, put the chocks, put our pitot tube cover back on the airplane, and it's pretty much good to go. Let's see here. Pitot tube cover goes on there. And that's a look at it, guys. That's the AirFoil Labs Cessna 172. I hope you guys enjoyed the flight, and I'll see you next time. Take care.